Welcome back, everyone, to your Saturday evening second stimulus check and second stimulus package update. Today is Saturday, December 19th, and we are on the eve of another all-important day because tomorrow is the first day that the House of Representatives and the entire chamber of Congress can, in fact, vote on a new round of legislation in regards to stimulus. Today, no votes, but tomorrow could potentially, optimistically, there could be votes tomorrow. So this is arguably one of my most important videos in my channel's history. It is great to see you guys again. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. And in this video, we're going to be covering the current state of your next stimulus check and the next stimulus package. And as per usual, the protocol is, if you have been enjoying my videos, you have been getting value out of them, you do appreciate the content, you appreciate the effort, go ahead and show your support by just smashing that like button, turn the like button blue. That will effectively increase that YouTube algorithm. More eyeballs will get on the video, more people will see the video, so it does support me and my channel, and it's totally free to do so. And if you haven't already, because I know we've been gaining hundreds, even by the thousands of new subscribers, if you haven't already, do consider hitting that big red button, the subscribe button. But more importantly, even more importantly, is going to be that you hit that notification bell. What that will do is actually notify you every single time I do post a new video, so you'll be first line to see it. You'll be privy to exactly what's going on, the current state of the union at all times, because the news is constantly changing and cycling, as we are fully aware. So do those few things for me, and we can get the show on the road. And if you're feeling extra generous, also share the video with a friend. You could point them to my channel as a free holiday gift. You can give the gift of knowledge and information. So go ahead and share the video with a friend or family member, someone that you think would get value, and we can get started and dive right in. So we'll begin where we left off in yesterday's update. If you didn't see it, the link will be down below in the description. You can always see the previous updates down below in the description box. As we know, the House and the Senate, and ultimately President Trump, passed the stopgap funding bill to avert a government shutdown. President Trump, late Friday night, signed the continuing resolution that would avert a partial government shutdown and will ultimately fund the government all the way until December 21st, right before Christmas. It was crucial for lawmakers to pass that short-term funding bill. This way we do avoid a partial government shutdown, because now they have bought themselves more time to negotiate not only the $900 billion nearly stimulus package, but also the $1.4 trillion long-term spending plan for the fiscal year of 2021. And to highlight the ineptitude and the inaction from our great Congress, just this month alone, this is now their second continuing resolution that they needed to pass because lawmakers could not compromise. The first one was last week. Congressional leaders set and blew way past that initial Friday deadline earlier this month, because they were working out their differences, even though for days they had been saying that they were closing in on a deal, so that was evidently not the case, and now they blew past the Friday deadline last night. So what's the hindrance this time? Why are Americans being rejected direct relief even after months and months of negotiations, and now we are a month after the election? The election has been long over. So what's the holdup? Well, a few things. Number one, the obstacle in the way of your next stimulus check actually has to do with the stimulus check, because lawmakers are greatly divided over that next direct payment to yourself and your families. This is because some lawmakers believe that $600 is not even enough. It needs to be $1,200, such as Bernie Sanders and Josh Hawley, whereas some lawmakers like Senator Rand Paul, he doesn't even think that there should be any direct payments whatsoever. He thinks you guys should get zero. As we were discussing yesterday, that bipartisan effort between Bernie Sanders and Josh Hawley was blocked and obstructed not once but twice from Senator Ron Johnson. He did not want to have a vote to bring that $600 check to a $1,200 check. He blocked it twice. His reasoning was that he cited the growing national deficit and the piling debt that our children might have to pay off in the long term. That's not the only barrier that is holding up congressional leaders to pass more stimulus. In fact, lawmakers are currently politicking right now in the midst of negotiations. That's right, more finger pointing, more clashes between Democrats and Republicans is once again holding up your next stimulus check, and is yet the latest impasse today, Saturday. The latest battle is over emergency Federal Reserve powers that would ultimately hinder the Biden administration and Biden's authority. This is a late Republican push to curtail the Federal Reserve lending authority and could potentially now stretch negotiations over the nearly $1 trillion stimulus package into next week. The latest major roadblock in stimulus negotiations is a new provision put forth by Senator Toomey, a Republican from Pennsylvania, and this clash over the Fed intensified between Democrats and Republicans. And today, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, according to reports, told his caucus in a Senator caucus call that Republicans should stand firm with Senator Patrick Toomey and back him, and he's demanding to cut off the central bank's emergency lending powers after they sunset on December 31st, the current expiration date under the CARES Act, which Congress approved back in March. Essentially, what's happening here is earlier this year, when the pandemic started to wreak havoc on the American economy, the central bank set up an array of programs to aid the flow of credit and provide loans to small-sized businesses as well as state and local governments. So this new motion that Senator Toomey has put forth would restrain the Fed's ability to restart those programs without congressional approval. Toomey, who is actually the incoming chair of the Senate Banking Committee, called it a bright red line just this week. This brand new fight has just been developed and is currently ensuing, and now could imperil the odds of relief passing this weekend and could ultimately lead to a government shutdown. If a relief package does not pass both chambers of Congress because of this new battle, then the prospect of a government shutdown could be raised again, given the deadline of funding being dried up on Sunday evening. The Republican argument, their sentiment, is that they say that keeping the Fed's emergency lending programs in place could cause the institution to overstep its historic boundaries as a lender of last resort. So Republicans think that it's not something we want to look at right away, but rather a last resort, a plan D in regards to funding and lending. And they also contend the Fed initiatives that could create an avenue to aid state and local municipalities, which is a longtime Democratic priority, of course. For example, Senator John Kennedy, a Republican from Louisiana, and also a member of the Senate Banking Committee, he told reporters that maintaining those programs could turn the Fed into, quote, a commercial bank, and said, quote, we're going to stand firm. And something that we didn't want to hear, he sent out a very bad signal. This does not bode well. He suggested that relief talks to resolve the issue could stretch onto, quote, New Year's or Christmas Eve. So Democrats are fiercely resisting this measure. They're arguing that it's a political move aimed at President-elect Joe Biden and his ability to manage a recovery while simultaneously jeopardizing the Fed's capacity to respond to future recessions as well. Like, for example, according to Senator Ron Wyden, a ranking Democrat on the Senate Finance Committee, he said in a brief interview on Capitol Hill, quote, the last thing America needs right now is to make it tougher to help people in communities, and that's what this proposal does. He added that it was a significant sticking point in the volatile negotiations. But luckily, not every single last Republican seemed to be on board with Toomey's proposal. In fact, Senator Mitt Romney, he had told Business Insider in a brief interview that pursuing major Fed reforms could wait until next year. Romney went on to say, quote, I think that the Fed should be returned to the powers it had prior to the CARES Act, but I think other reforms should wait for another time. And not in regards to Federal Reserve powers, but rather other political fixtures in these negotiations. This was the same kind of sentiment that we heard from Mitch McConnell himself. He was arguing that we should push off these controversial issues and just wait for them to be argued and debated next year after we have passed some round of relief. We were this close to striking a deal. So close. But once again, we could not put our differences behind us. Lawmakers had to stir up some new controversy. It's pathetic and a very sad indictment and characterization of our Congress. We could not come to terms. We once again have to wait and wait for an indefinite amount of time. What are your thoughts on this newly developing matter? Do you think the Republicans or the Democrats are in the wrong on this brand new issue? Hopefully a deal could be made despite this new dichotomy between the two parties. We were finally seeing some bipartisan effort here. We were finally seeing deals being made and compromising, but it just didn't work out. But that is the current state of the union in regards to your next stimulus check and your next stimulus package. I give it to you guys straight. I don't sugarcoat anything whatsoever. I want to be as clear and frank as possible on this channel. I do hope you got value out of this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Smash the like button for me. I would greatly appreciate that. And so that way you don't miss any future updates or videos. Hit that big red button, the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Share it with a friend, share it with a family member. I do look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Tomorrow is going to be a big day because potentially, optimistically, a deal could be reached.